This conference will now be recorded.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. علی اللہ مدد فرما. الواحد القہار. علی اللہ مدد فرما. الحی 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 یا مقلب القلوب 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 یا مقلب القلوب. شکراً للہ والحمد للہ. شکراً للہ والحمد للہ. یا علی مدد عزیز سر.
یا علی مدد یا علی مدد. بہت نوازش. سبحان اللہ سبحان اللہ. بہت بہت نوازش تمام ساتھیوں کو. یا علی مدد. And thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome to our session number 11 on the subject of ilm, importance of ilm in our tariqah. And the topic that we were covering, the subject we were covering was Wama Qadruhu Allah Hakka Qadri. Have we appreciate and appraise Allah the way we should have? ہم نے اللہ کی قدر نہیں کی جیسی اس کی قدر کرنی چاہیے تھی. Let's start with the blessed name of the Imam Zaman, Nur Maulana Shah Karim Al Husaini Hazir Imam Hazir Imam. Ya Maulay Mehربان Ya Maulay Mehربان یا مولا مہربان مدد فرما مدد فرما. یا رحمان یا رحیم یا رحمان یا رحیم یا رحمان یا رحیم یا رحمان یا رحیم. یا مولا مدد فرما کرم کر مولا رحم کر مولا رحم کر مولا. نور مولانا شاہ کریم الحسینی حاضر امام. توفیق تائید ہمت و یاری مولا. توفیق تائید ہمت و یاری مولا. یا مولا اپنے نور کی روشنی کی مدد سے یا مولا ہم غریبوں کی ہدایت فرما مولا. اپنے نور سے ہماری ہدایت فرما مولا. یا مولا ہمارے قریب آ جا مولا. یا مولا اپنا مبارک ہاتھ ہم پر رکھ مولا تاکہ ہم کچھ کام کر سکے مولا. یا مولا تیری مدد کے بغیر کچھ بھی ممکن نہیں ہے مولا. نور مولانا شاہ کریم الحسینی حاضر امام حاضر امام. تیرا نام کتنا مبارک ہے مولا کہ جیسے ہی تیرا نام لیتے ہیں دل میں خوشیوں کی لہر دوڑ جاتی ہے مولا. یا مولا مہربان اپنے پاک کھانا ودان دعاشش کے ساتھ ہماری مدد کو پوش مولا. تمام ساتھیوں کو ایک بار پھر یا علی مدد. Let's come to our day 11, session number 11 on Imam Shanasi, and we were looking at some of the Nur ayat in the Quran. And last week, under the chapter number 10, we were talking about Nur-e-Mubin or Kitab-e-Mubin, and we were comparing how the ilm comes from and is on three levels. The initial ilm come from Da'i, and it is called ilmul yaqeen, certainty of knowledge. Second level of ilm, higher level of ilm come from Hujjat the Peer, and that is called Ainul Yaqeen, certainty of I. And the third and the highest ilm comes from the Imam-e-Mubin, and that is called Haqqul Yaqeen, certainty of truth. یہاں پر آپ نے دیکھا کہ علم درجہ وار ہے. سب سے پہلے ہمیں علم दाइयों से मिलता है। इसके बाद उससे ऊपर का इल्म, रूहानियत का इल्म पीरों से मिलता है। और फिर आखिरी दर्जे का इल्म, इल्म हकीकी, इल्म लदुनी, फनायत के बाद इमाम से मिलता है। और इनकी तारीफ और तशरी हमारे पीरों और दाइयों ने की है। You can see the ilm is on the stages and it comes from Dai, and then above that Peers, and above that from the Imam. The Imam's ilm laduni, the direct ilm, can be obtained by a mu'min through fanayat. And then they become one with Imam and his ilm. And that is the highest level of Hakkul Yaqeen, the certainty of truth. At that point, there is nothing hidden. The ilm that we have been listening, learning, only can be received and obtained by those mu'mineen we call Arif. And if Arif is Arife Kamile Mukammal, meaning he has emerged in the Imam's Nur and now he is receiving the Ilm Laduni, Imam's direct ilm, in the light of Imam's Nur, then we Garib and Nachis can also receive and take their ilm from those Arifin, and especially from the Arife Kamil. And he can make us Mukammal in the ilm as he is Mukammal in the ilm. आपने देखा कि कोई मोमिन अपने आप को इमाम के अंदर फना करके अगर वो आरिफ बन जाता है, मारिफत हासिल कर लेता है, तो वो इमाम के नूर में एक होने की वजह से इमाम का जिंदा इल्मी खजाना बन जाता है। और चूंकि वो आरिफ कामिल मुकम्मल होता है, तो फिर उससे हम जैसे गरीब और नाचीज लोग भी वो इल्म हासिल कर सकते हैं। आरिफ के तवस्सुत से वो हमें इमाम के नूर की रोशनी में वो इल्म इनायत करता है और हम भी इमाम के नूर की रोशनी में इस इल्म को सीख और समझ सकते हैं। और इंशाल्लाह एक दिन उसके पीछे पीछे हम इमाम तक, इमाम के नूर तक, इमाम के इल्म तक पहुंच जाते हैं। In other words, it is only possible through the Arifin, especially with that one Arif who is Kamil, who is complete in himself with the Imam. Otherwise, interpretation of the Quran, interpretation of the Farman, interpretation of the Ginan would be hard for someone like us without the help of these Arifins. Our first Quranic reference of the Nur today is, and if we summarize this in short words, there would be a Nur has come. Allah does not send guidance, a book, a talim, ilm, without nur. Without nur. As I just mentioned earlier, it is through the Arif who has merged himself into the Imam and his nur. Then when he brings that ilm laduni, Imam's ilm, he also brings with Imam's nur. In other words, all the books, the book-e-ilahi that have come, they have come with nur. अगर हम ये बात को समझ गए कि हर किताब के साथ उसके साथ एक नूर होता है, तो फिर जब पीरों और दाइयों ने किताबें लिखी तो वो भी इमाम के नूर के साथ होगी। और आज अगर आरिफ जमान इमाम और मजहब के लिए जो किताबें लिखते हैं वो खाली खोली नहीं होती है, वो इमाम के नूर के साथ होती है। इल्म, तालीमात इमाम के नूर के साथ होती है। क्या समझ में आया हमें? What do we learn from this? That nothing is possible without the Noor-e-Imam. And the Imam's Noor comes with ilm, and then only it can enlighten a moment. That is the principle we need to learn. That is the Khalidi principle, the core principle. That Imam's ilm comes with Imam's Noor. If Imam ilm is coming from an Arif, one with a Marifat, then that ilm also comes with Imam's Noor. Just like any book, may it be Bible, Torah, Injil, Quran, it came with Allah's Noor. And that is this two ayat. So let's go into it. A light has now come to you from God, and a visible, manifested, clear book. We see that Allah did not send a book without the light. Matter of fact, the light came first and then came the book. Because without the light, what are we going to do with the book? If there was no light outside, can you read the book? If there's no light inside, can you read the book? What would you do with a book without the light? That is Imam Shanasi. That is Noor Shanasi. रोशनी के बगैर किताब का क्या करेंगे हम? अगर बाहर रोशनी ना हो, अंदर रोशनी ना हो, तो किताब क्या काम की है? किस तरह से पढ़ेंगे? कौन कुरान पढ़ सकता है इमाम के नूर की रोशनी के बगैर? और आप देखें कि नूर और किताब हमने नाजिल की, और ये किताब मैनिफेस्टेड है, विजिबल है, क्लियर है, क्योंकि उसके ऊपर नूर की रोशनी पड़ रही है, इसकी वजह से वो क्लियर है। अगर इमाम के नूर को हटा दें, इसकी रोशनी को हटा दें, इमाम की गाइडेंस को हटा दें, तो किताब के अंदर कुछ भी नहीं है। If you remove the light, the nur of the Imam, then book itself is not clear, and you will not be able to read, you will not be able to understand, and you will not be able to follow it. That is the recognition of Imam. That is Imam Shanasi. That Imam and his Nur must always be present. Without that Noor, without his guidance, one cannot read or understand Quran. And Allah had made sure the Noor comes with the book. So Allah said, a Noor has come with which God, Allah guides to the way of peace. और खुदावन ताला इस नूर और किताब के अंदर हिदायत के साथ तुम्हें राहत की तरफ दौड़वनी देता है. Those who follow what pleases him. Who does he guide? The one who pleases him, who praises him, who follows him, who makes him happy. किसको खुदा दौड़वनी देता है? जिससे वो खुश होता है, जो उसकी तारीफ करते हैं, उसकी हमद करते हैं, उसको फॉलो करते हैं, तो वो उसको गाइड करता है. अगर आप उसको फॉलो नहीं करते हैं, इफ यू डोंट फॉलो हिम, तो फिर वो गाइड नहीं करता है. देन ही डज नॉट गाइड यू, बिकॉज यू योरसेल्फ blocked yourself by not following him. You turned your face around, so there is no more light, there is no more guidance. Only if you keep your face toward him, then he will guide you. If you believe in him, he will guide you. If he's pleased with you, he will guide you. And then he brings them out of darkness into the Nur. How does he guide you? Think about this. How does he guide you? He will bring you out of the darkness of the ignorancy, and he will bring you in the Nur, in the light, and he will enlighten you. वो तुमको जाहलत के अंधेरों से निकालकर अपने नूर की रोशनी में ले आता है. See, he does not just only guide you, he also bring you from the out of the darkness, out of the ignorancy, and enlightens you. He bring you into his light by his will and guiding them to a straight path on Siratul Mustaqim. वो अपनी विल से, अपनी ख्वाहिश से, अपनी चाहत से आपको सिरातल मुस्तकीम पर दौड़वनी देता है. That is Imam Shanasi. That is Imam Shanasi. Why do we emphasize on Imam Shanasi? When we do not recognize and appreciate what Imam has given us, and we see him as a human like you and me, then how will he guide us? We have to make sure that we understand him, we pleases him, so he may guide us. When you recognize him, he's happy with you and you are happy with him, and then he guides you. But if you don't follow him, if you don't listen to his farman, you don't listen when he says, I wish my murid will recognize me. अगर हम उसको सुनते नहीं है, उसके फरमान को नहीं मानते हैं, और जब हम वो कहता है कि मेरे काश मेरे मोमिन मेरी जमात मुझे पहचाने, और हम उसकी बात को इग्नोर करते हैं, then he has no burden on him to guide you, because you yourself have blocked yourself from his light, his nur, and his guidance. That is our course. That is the Imam Shanasi. That is the Imam's wish that my Jamaat would recognize me like this. We should need to know, we should know how does Imam light, Nur guides the Jamaat. Otherwise, we say Imam is the Nur. How, where, when? What does he do for us? We need to know that. And that's exactly what we are doing today. Think about 15 million Ismailis on this earth. How many are paying attention to Imam Shinasi? How many? Look at the number on this line. This many. Only this many. Because we have chose to ignore Imam's farman. And we cannot do that. Shukr alhamdulillah, we are not those who are ignoring Imam's wish, will, and farman. And therefore, we are moving forward. The next two ayat also talks about the Anur has come in a little bit different way. Let's take a look at it. Anur has now come to you from God. We reveal the Torah with guidance and light. इसी तरह से हमने तोरा भी उतारी थी मूसा पर और जो वो किताब आई थी वो भी एक नूर के साथ आई थी. नूर के बगैर किताब नहीं है. इमाम के बगैर किताब नहीं है. कुरान को आपने अगर पकड़ भी लिया है और इमाम को छोड़ दिया है तो वो किताब आपके कुछ काम नहीं आने वाली है, क्योंकि आपने अंधेरा करके नूर को छोड़कर, नूर को बुझाकर, बत्तियों को बुझाकर कुरान पढ़ने की कोशिश करते हैं. If you have left and not believed and not used, not utilized the nur of the Imam to read Quran, Quran cannot give you anything. You need the light of the Imam, the guidance and the nur of Imam to read Quran, and in same token to read Ginan. Without nur, you cannot understand Ginan. Without nur, you cannot understand Farman. And that is the core principle of Quran, that every time Allah has sent guidance, ilm, a book, He have always sent a nur with it. And just like that, we have given Isa the angel with guidance. आप देखें जिस तरह से तोरा के साथ नूर था, इसी तरह से इंजील के साथ भी नूर था. Just like Old Testament came with the Nur Ilahi, the Bible also came with the Nur Ilahi, and that is the core principle. Quran also came with Nur Ilahi. So it may guide the Mu'mineen. And today, ilm that comes from the Arifin, just like the ilm that came from the prophets in their respected time, the books which were revealed to the prophets in their respected time came with the nur, just like that in every time and age mu'mineen are given ilm laduni, and when they teach, when they write books, it comes with Imam's nur, because core principle is same. That is the core principle of Quran, the guidance and the teaching. But look what people does. what does people do? After the Torah, when Bible came, when Isa came, they refused to follow Isa, and then they refused to follow New Testament, what we call Bible. And what did they say? The book which we have is good enough. We don't need your book. So people of Torah, people of Musa, refused to accept Isa, the Nur, and the book, the Bible. And they said we don't need that. And then same thing when Muhammad came with Quran. The people of Musa and people of Isa both said, we have our book, we do not need a living, guiding Nur. The book is good enough for us. And they did not accept the Nur, the Muhammad, the book, the Quran, and then the Nur which followed in the form of Ali and the Imams after that. Meaning the book and the Nur remained for those who wish to accept and follow. If you look at this ayat closely again, we gave Isa the Injil with guidance and the Nur, and confirmation of the Torah already revealed before them, a guide and lesson for those who take mindful of Allah, who paying attention. Those who are not paying attention, even today, will never understand the guidance in the any of the book of Ilahi because they are not mindful of it. Are we mindful of it? Are we mindful of it? Question. Let's go to our next page. Same surah, ayat number 48. We sent to you, O Muhammad. We talked about Torah, we talked about Injil, now we are talking about Quran. We sent to you, O Muhammad, the book with truth, confirming the scripture that came before it, the Torah and Injil, and with final authority over them. Meaning, the Quran, just like the books before it, came with the Prophet Muhammad, the Noor-e Ilahi, just like Injil and Torah, and each book conformed the previous book and guides forward. Guides forward. Meaning, Injil have authority over Torah and Quran has authority over Injil and Torah both. Because the current Noor of the time is now teaching, and the Noor has the full authority over all of the ilm and the books. थोड़ा उर्दू में यहाँ पर बोलते चले कि खुदा की जो आदत है कि वो हमेशा इल्म नूर के साथ बेचता है, किताबें नूर के साथ बेचता है, खाली इल्म नहीं देता है, इल्म के साथ नूर को भी रखता है। यानी कि इमाम का नूर दुनिया में हमेशा हाजिर और मौजूद होता है और इमाम का इल्म भी दुनिया में हमेशा हाजिर और मौजूद होता है। जब पैगंबरों का वक्त था तो किताबों के साथ पैगंबर और पैगंबर के बाद उसके असास इमामान उसके साथ नूर की सूरत में मौजूद थे। پھر جب ہمارا دور آیا، قیامت کا دور آیا، اور ہر وقت امام کی طرف سے عارفین، کبھی ان عارفوں کا نام پیر اور دائی ہوتا تھا، آج پیر اور دائی نہیں ہے، آج اب اس کو عارف کہتے ہیں، معرفت والے کہتے ہیں. اور وہ عارف، اور اگر وہ عارف کامل مکمل ہے تو اس کا علم، اس کی کتابیں، اس کی ٹیچنگ، وہ سب امام کے نور سے آتی ہے، امام کے نور کے ساتھ آتی ہے، کیونکہ نور کے بغیر کچھ بھی نہیں ہے، امام کے بغیر کچھ بھی نہیں ہے. اور یہ ہمارے لیے ایک تعلیم ہے تاکہ ہم سمجھ سکے کہ امام کس طرح سے انسان کو دروانی دیتا ہے. ایک سیکنڈ کے بعد ہم اس کو پڑھنے کے بعد دوبارہ پچھلی اسکرین پر جائیں گے تاکہ ہم اس بات کو اچھی طرح سے سمجھ سکیں کہ کیوں علم اور نور ساتھ میں ہونا ضروری ہے. After we read this, we will go back to the previous screen so we can understand why it is important that we understand that Noor and the book, the Ilm and the Noor are always must be together. I'm sure over the years, especially during the COVID, you have listened to hundreds and thousands of lectures. Lot of lecture information, lot of lecture ilm. On top of all of that, lot of session ilm and the nur. And remember, without the nur, there cannot be a true ilm imam. آپ نے سالوں میں بہت سارے لیکچر، بہت ساری وائزیں سنی ہوگی، بہت ساری انفارمیشن کے لیے ہوتی ہے، جانکاری کے لیے ہوتی ہے، تھوڑا بہت علم بھی ادھر ادھر مل جاتا ہے، لیکن حقیقی علم، امام کا علم وہ ہے جس کے ساتھ امام کا نور ہے. امام کے نور کی روشنی کے بغیر حقیقی علم نہیں ہے. There cannot be a true ilm without the nur. So let's look at this one. Hadith Saqlain. This is the very hadith in the Golden Jubilee when Imam guided the LIF by saying, I wish my Jamaat would recognize the Imam of the time. Upon asking Khudawind, how do we recognize you? Imam said, take two things. Take Ayah Nur and take Hadith Saqlain, this hadith. And if, underline, if you understand, and if you make Jamaat understand, then they will be able to recognize me, recognize the Imam of the time. The condition was if. اگر. جب امام نے گولڈن جوبلی میں فرمایا کہ کاش میری جماعت مجھے پہچانتی، اور جب لیڈروں نے پوچھا یا خداوند ہم آپ کو کیسے پہچانے، امام نے فرمایا دو چیزیں لے جاؤ، ایک آیہ نور اور ایک حدیث ثقلین. اس کے ساتھ شرط رکھی کہ اگر आप समझते हैं, और अगर 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 आप जमात को समझा देते हैं, अंडरलाइन वर्ड था अगर, कंडीशन थी अगर, इफ, तो फिर मेरी जमात मुझे पहचानेगी। आज हमने आया नूर को हमारे 2 सेशन पहले कवर कर लिया। आज हदीस सकलीन की बारी है। हदीस सकलीन क्या है? एक बारी हदीस। We have already covered Ayah Noor. Today is the turn we will try to understand Hadith Saklan. What is Hadith Saklan? A heavy Hadith, a heavy guidance of the Prophet Muhammad. Heavy in the sense that it has lot to think and understand, not in the weight, but by the intellect. बारी किस मायने में है कि उसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें छुपाई गई है अक्ल के लिए, for the intellect. Hadith Saklan says, verily, I'm leaving behind two precious things. Two precious things. Saklan, heavy amongst you. The book, the Quran of Allah, and my kindred, Itrat, Imams, Ali, the Noor. My household Elabeth, for indeed the two will never separate. They will stay together until they come back to me in the paradise by the pond, the Al-Kawthar, on the day of judgment. Meaning, the Noor and the book will remain together. Together. And you must hold on to, follow, understand both. If someone leaves the book and follow the Imam, it doesn't work. If you leave the Imam and follow the book, it doesn't work. That what Imam said in the Golden Jubilee, that I wish my murid will recognize the Imam of the time through Ayah and Nur from the Quran, Hadith Sakleen, telling us that Quran and Imam are together, not separate. You cannot read the book without the Nur. You cannot understand the Nur without the book. You need both. And if you understand that, and if you are able to make my Jamaat understand that, then they will have recognition of the Imam of the time. Next slide. So what did we do? What did we do? What did Muslim do? What did Ismaili do? What did we do? We took the Quran, left the Imam. We took the Imam, left the Quran. And Quran had predicted that. Quran itself had predicted for people like us and people like them. There is a prediction. Surah number 15, ayat number 91. कि वो कुरान को टुकड़े टुकड़े कर देते हैं. They take the Quran and break them into part. Some hold to the books and other hold to the speaking Quran. Some hold on to the physical book and leave the Nurani book. Others also do the same. We are also guilty of that. We took the Nurani book and left the physical book. What was the Farman? What was the Amar? What was the guidance? What did Imam said? Imam said, take Hadith Saklan. See what you were told. How did you forget that there were two things, not one? There were two things. We have hold on to the Imam, fortunately, Shukr Alhamdulillah, but we did not follow the complete Farman. We left the book. Same goes for those who leave the Imam but hang on to the book. When it needs to be combined together until the time of Qiyamah. You cannot leave one for the other. So Allah complains to you and me, why are you breaking the book in parts? The silent book and the speaking book. Why are you breaking them in apart and leaving one behind and selecting one when you were supposed to have both? The Nur and the book, the Ilm and the Nur, the Hidayat and the Imam. You're supposed to have both. You cannot have one only. The last chapter, again, Quran complain about the people of Musa. Allah complain about the people of the Quran, and then he complains about the people of Torah. They did the same thing. They kept the Torah, the book, and they left the living guide, the Imam, the Nur. They took the book, and out of that book, listen to this very carefully, out of that book, whatever talked about the Imam and the Nur, they threw it out. And they kept everything else. Let's talk about the people of Quran. Whatever it was about the Imam, the Ali, and the Nur, they left it. And they kept the book. Why are we criticizing others? How about we criticize ourselves? We did the same thing. Let me show you how did we do it. It's okay. Self-criticism is good. We can learn from it. We took the Ginan and left the Nur of the Peer in it. हमें पीर की कोई परवाह नहीं है, हम गिनान की परवाह करते हैं, जबकि पीर का नूर उसके साथ था, जो नूर इमाम था. हम गिनान तो पढ़ते हैं, नूर को छोड़ दिया जो उसके अंदर था. हम फरमान तो पढ़ते हैं, नूर को छोड़ देते हैं. हम कुरान भी कभी कभार पढ़ते हैं, कभी कभार एवरी डे हम दुआ के अंदर कुरान पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन उसके अंदर से नूर कहाँ है? हमने भी वही किया जो मूसा के लोगों ने किया, ईसा के लोगों ने किया, मोहम्मद के लोगों ने किया, वही आज हम कर रहे हैं. We are guilty of same, and it's okay to do self-criticism. Just like the people of Musa took the book and only kept what they liked and took out everything about the Imam and the Nur. Same thing people of Quran did. They kept the book, everything about the Ali, Imam and Nur, they left it out. And we did the same thing. We take the Gnan but leave the Nur of Pir out. We read the Furman. We do not take the Noor of the Imam in it. We read the Quran. We recite the Quran in our dua every day, but without the Noor. When the book and the Noor, Ilm and the Noor, Hadi, Hidayat and Hadi comes together. We must understand what Imam is telling us. And Imam is guiding us toward the Noor. And how do we get there? Through the book. So there is a small article called Do we understand Imam through Quran or do we understand Quran through Imam? क्या हम इमाम को कुरान से पहचाने या कुरान को समझे इमाम के साथ? ये एक छोटा सा आर्टिकल है ताकि हम कुरान को समझ सके, ताकि हम इमाम के नूर को समझ सके. ये दोनों साथ में है, अलग अलग नहीं है. और ये ही इमाम का फरमान, that I wish, and that is the fundamental core principle of Ismaili Tariqa, to have the recognition of Imam. इमाम शनाजी के बगैर हम अच्छे सच्चे पक्के इमाम के मुरीद इस्माइली नहीं हो सकते. That's how important it is. This is not my word, this is Imam's word. The fundamental principle of our tariqah is the recognition of the Imam of the time. Golden Jubilee, I wish my Jamaat would recognize me. If you understand, take the ayah Noor, take the ayah Saklain. If you understand, you make the Jamaat understand, and then they will be able to recognize the Imam of the time. Imam's own word. If we like to take it, accept it, follow it. That is Imam Shanasi. Inshallah, we will continue on the subject. So let's stop here for the day. So we may have some minutes for the questions and answers. G.
This is Subhanallah, sir. Subhanallah, sir. Friends, the chat room is open for the questions. Okay, I think the one friend is asking where we can find the article of that recognizing Imam Tukum. So I think yeah, I will look for it. I will share it there. Okay, and friends, so, okay. All right, friends, you can unmute your device if you have any questions.
There's a question in the organizers only section, and someone's asking if does the Quran say anything about ginans?
Yes, I see that. Okay. Yes, sir.
That
Yes.
is that is a very strange but a good question. Very strange but a good question. Does Quran talk about ilm? Does Quran talk about ilm? If your answer is yes, then what is Ginan? Ilm. Does that answer your question? So first we must look in the Quran and see if Quran talks about ilm. If your answer is yes, then Quran talks about Ginan, Quran talks about Farman, Quran talk about what we are doing today. This ilmi session, Quran talks about that too. Because Quran talks about ilm. G. Any other comments, question?
Yes. So there's some issue with the mic. I'm trying to unlock it. Somehow this is giving me a problem. So Khayal, if you
Okay.
can do from your
The
side.
way to do that is
Yeah.
mute everyone and then unmute. And I'm going to stop the sharing so you could do that. Go ahead.
All right. So I think in the meantime, we have one question in the chat. So do we believe in everything that was revealed in the Torah and the Bible?
Yes, those are the confirmed by the Quran itself. So everything in the Torah was confirmed by the Bible. Everything written in Torah and Bible together was confirmed by the Quran. And Imam even talks about the books of Allah, when he refers to people of the book, because those are the guidance, right? So sometime you may find definition of some of the stories and event in Bible in Quran. But in Quran you will only find just a small definition of the total story. So where do you go for total story? Back to the previous book. Let me give you a simple worldly example from your school time. When you were writing this, whatever question you were writing, did you take part and use the alphabets that you learned in the first grade? You did not recite A, B, C, D, but you took the alphabet to write that question. Just like that, when we read the today's ilm, the fresh Nurani ilm of the time, what will we find? We will find the ilm from the Ginan, we will find the ilm from the Farman, we will find the ilm from the Quran, we will find the ilm from the Injil and Torah. Because we will find ABC from the core onward. So everything, all modern thing compiles everything of the past. Another physical example for you to understand. If you look at the phone, you don't see a camera in there. You don't see a typewriter inside. You don't find the keyboard and mouse in your phone. But everything of the past is encompassed in the current model. So current ilme Imam, encompasses all of the previous ilm. But sometime, and that is a Farman again, Imam do want us to refer back to those books so we can learn how step by step Allah has guided, Imam has explained the guidance in these steps. So that is important that we read and learn the current Ismaili Tariqa ilm given by the Arifin. but at the same time refer back to the books of the Dais, the Pirs, the Quran, and whatever other books are available to us. And that is Imam's Farman 1967, 1968, Karachi and Bombay both. G.
So you have another question. Peas wrote Ginans 500 years ago. So do we have new Ginans? So why no new Ginans are coming out? Why we got stuck in old Ginans? Why new Ginans not coming out?
That would be a very good question for Mola Bapa, because I cannot answer why. Only Mola Baba can tell you why. So that would be good question for you to send to Tariqa board and then to the Imam, and he can reply back to you. But if I rephrase the question, there are always and always new Ginans available. For example, what is Ginan? Ilm. Ilm in a rhythmic way. You call it Ginan. I call it Ilm. So what happened? We are actually not understanding the word, the meaning of the Ginan. You know why? Because we left the Nur which was in the Ginan. So Pir have returned the Ginan in such a way. Let's say Pir Nasir Khusro wrote the Ginans 1,000 years ago. How many of us have ever touched those Ginans? Pir have written the Ginan 5, 6, 700 years ago. How many of us have touched those Ginans? We listen to the Ginan in Jamaat Khana, but how many we have really studied those Ginans? Now, to me, the Ginan is Ilm, and Ilm is always fresh, never old. Never old. So even today, there are Ginans which are fresh. If you're thinking of a Ginan in a rhythmic way, then those are also available. And those Ginan which are written as the Ilm, the book, in the form of lectures, in the form of audio, in the form of videos, that Ginan are also available. So why do we think there are no new Ginans? Unless we are thinking of this one Ginan that P wrote 500 years ago. No, there is no need for somebody to write the same Ginan again today, right? Because it's already there. So nobody wrote Bible again. Nobody wrote Quran again. Everything must move forward according to the time and the place and the language. So look at the language of the Torah and the Bible and the Quran and the Dayan books in Persian and the Arifin books in Urdu and English and other languages, French, Gujarati. Do we see that? So ilm is according to the time and the place. G.
Okay, so we have another question. Is Nur and Ilm the same?
It can be. The ilm brings enlightenment, the nur. Nur helps us learn the ilm so we may get enlightened. So you can say they are same in one place, and you can say not same because one has to guide and one is the guidance. Take your eyes and your eyesight. They're both right here, right? But one is eye and one is eyesight. G.
So where did the belief that Jesus was the Son of God come from?
Well, that's a very good question for a Christian, right? Just like today, we believe in Ali Allah. You cannot ask a Christian, you cannot ask a non-Ismaili Muslim, then where does Ali Allah concept come from? Who do you have to ask that question? Then where does Ali Allah concept come from? Someone who claimed to be saying Ali Allah. Correct? So the concept of Jesus come as a son of the God. Who would you ask? Those who believe that Jesus is God, son of God. Correct? So right question to the right people at the right time. G.
Right, so we don't have any questions in the chat. Friends, you can unmute your device if you have any questions.
याली मदद अपना ये एंजिल किसके पे उतरा था और एंजिल को कौन सा रिलीजन लोग मानते हैं?
Angel is Bible for Christians.
अच्छा,
Angel को बाइबल बोलते हैं, बाइबल नसारा मानते हैं.
तो ऐसा अपन बोलते हैं 4 किताब उतरी है, एंजिल, तौरात, बाइबल और कुरान शरीफ. तो फिर बाइबल और एंजिल में अलग बताए ना.
हाँ, अच्छा. तो एक दाऊद की किताब है,
जी.
एक मूसा की किताब है,
हम्म,
एक ईसा की किताब है और एक मोहम्मद की किताब है.
अच्छा.
राइट? लेकिन चारों चार खुदा की किताबें हैं. ज़बूर जो दाऊद की किताब है,
अच्छा.
तोरा जो मूसा की किताब है. इंजील एंड बाइबल एक ही है, दो अलग अलग नाम, जो ईसा की किताब है. कुरान मोहम्मद की किताब है. यू अंडरस्टैंड?
हाँ, तो अभी मैं ये समझ गया कि कुरान शरीफ मुस्लिम लोग मानते हैं, बाइबल को क्रिश्चियन लोग मानते हैं और तौरात को ये ईसाई लोग इजराइल लोग मानते हैं, बराबर. तो ये दाऊद के जो है वो कौन से रिलीजन वाले?
सब मानते हैं. मुसलमान सब किताबों को मानते हैं. यही तो तालीम थी आज कि हमको सब अल्लाह की किताबों पर यकीन रखना है और उस सब का निचोड़ जो है वो आगे से आगे कुरान के अंदर है. लेकिन फिर भी मौला ने फरमाया कि आप पीछे जाकर तमाम किताबों की स्टडी करें. तो आपको किसने बोला कि मुसलमान वो बाइबल पे बिलीव नहीं करते हैं और
नहीं, बिलीव नहीं करते, ज्यादा मानते
लोग
हैं उसको. ज्यादा बिलीव करते हैं, यानी इसको फॉलो करते हैं. बाइबल को क्रिश्चियन लोग फॉलो करते हैं और ये तो ये. हाँ, तो मैं जरा कंफ्यूज है कि दाऊद के जो रिलीजन वाले कौन है, वो मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है. वो कौन है रिलीजन जो ज्यादा बिलीव करते हैं उसके?
तो दोबारा से सुन ले,
कौन सी कौम है, कौन सी कौम है वो?
दोबारा से सुन ले
जी.
मैं, आप, तमाम मुसलमान, तमाम क्रिश्चियन, तमाम यहूदी, सभी सब उस पर यकीन करते हैं. तो आपने वो पार्ट नहीं सुना जो नाचीज अर्ज कर रहा था कि जो भी पिछले चीजें होगी वो सब के सब आगे वाले लोग उस पर यकीन करेंगे. जी.
ओके, थैंक यू.
जी.
याली मदद सर.
याद
सर, ये हदीस सकलैन के अंदर जो आया है ना कि कयामत के दिन हौज़े कौसर में ये मिलेंगे, तो इसकी तावील मतलब पर्सनल वर्ल्ड में, या एक बार इसको समझाइए ना सर. अगर
जी, बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. द क्वेश्चन इज, at the end of Hadith Saklan, Prophet Muhammad said, they both will remain together, the book and my itrat, and then they will come back to me at the end of the time at the pound of Kosar. इसका ये मतलब होता है कि सिंपली एक लोकेशन बताई गई, लेकिन फरमाना ये था कि ये ता क़यामत तक साथ रहेंगे, और जब आप मेरे पास आएंगे तो वहां भी आपको कुरान और अली साथ साथ मिलेंगे। ये आसान एक्सप्लेनेशन है इसकी। जी
तो कयामत अगर जैसा आप सिखाते हैं कि आरिफीन जो होते हैं उनकी कयामत पर्सनल वर्ल्ड में आ जाती है, तो मतलब वहां पे ये इसकी मारिफत मिल जाती, ऐसे हुआ सर?
जी, लेट मी rephrase few more things। जब क़यामत आएंगी और क़यामत तक कुरान और इमाम अलग अलग होते हैं ना, कुरान इमाम, लेकिन जब आप क़यामत के दिन हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के हुजूर में पहुंचेंगे तो वहां पर आपको कुरान और इमाम एक साथ मिलेंगे, चाहे वो क़यामत जाती हो, रूहानी हो, या कलेक्टिवली इज्तिमाई हो। क़यामत फिर कोई भी हो, क़यामत जब आ जाती है या तो जाती तौर पर या कलेक्टिवली, और जब हम वहां पर पहुंचते हैं तो हमको क्या मिलता है? हम देखते हैं कि वहां पर कुरान और इमाम एक साथ है। हम समझ गए?
हाँ सर, शुक्र शुक्र, थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
We have a question in the chat.
जी
Aren't we all sons and daughters of God? Because Imam says in Farman, my spiritual children to all of us. So how Jesus
ए,
is only son of God?
so looks like somebody really have some issue with Isa being son of a God. Indeed, we are from Aklekul and Nafsekul, and therefore we are the children of God, of Imam. And Imam openly, he's not hiding that, openly says, my spiritual children. We are the children of Ali Allah. We are the children of God. Then why do we have a problem with Jesus being son of God? What is the other name of Isa? Does anyone know? Ru'ul Allah. Ru'ul Allah is the name which Isa is called in Quran. Let's say your name is Kareem and you have the soul of Kareem. What would I call you? Kareem. If Isa had the soul of Allah, Ru'ul Allah, and I'm not saying that, Quran is saying that, then what would you call him? Why do we have a problem him being son of God? Think on that, ponder on that. I can tell you a short 1 minute story. Short story, I'm not going to go in detail. Nachis and Garib was given opportunity to teach at the Bel Air chaplain training classes. There, the question came the other way. They asked me, do I believe the Isa is son of God? And my reply to them was, I believe he was the God. I shocked them. I shocked them completely because they were not expecting that from a Muslim. You know why I said that with so much belief and conviction? Because Quran says he was Noor-e Ilahi, Ru'e Allah, Rule Allah. If he has the ruh of Allah, then what is he? That's why we call Ali Allah today, because that is the nur of Allah. So what would I call him? Ali Allah. He was Ruh Allah. What I would call him? If you have a ruh of Kareem, I call you Kareem. What would I call Isa? Logical and intellectual tariqa. We apply logic and intellect. What would I call you and what would you call me? If I have a ruh of Aziz and you have a ruh of Kareem and he was Ruh Allah, what would you call him? Gee, I believe this is detailed enough. Any last comment or question?
So we have a question: is Kausar and Imam of the Qiyamah the same?
Okay, ask me again. I'm lost.
Okay. So you can see in the chat as well, but it says that is Kausar and Imam of the Qiyamah the same?
Kausar means one who has abandoned children. So your question is kind of, incorrect, incomplete, because the Kausar, the word is used for initially Mullah Ali and after him for every single Imam, because each one of them have sons who would be the next Imam. And son after son after son is called Kausar, the man with abundant progeny, children. And when we say my spiritual children, look at how many children Imam has abundantly. So the Kausar is initially used for Ali and after him for every Imam. G.
याली मदद अच्छा मैं अभी गूगल में देखा था तो इसमें 20 मिलियन बता रहे हैं तो वो ये रियल है 20 मिलियन
पता नहीं मुला के लिए अच्छा क्वेश्चन है मैं तो नहीं गिन सकता हूँ
क्योंकि आप मेरे को
This will be a good
15
question. Can you please
हाँ
submit that question to Mullah
ओके
Papa? And when he replies, answer please.
ओके ओके
All right. Any last
So I have a
comment or
question.
question?
I have a question.
G.
Going back to the Ginan question. So as you know, there are other sessions and groups, many sessions going on over the time besides the ones we have today. And from what I understand, there's a little bit of a debate going on sometimes with some groups saying how the Ginans should be viewed as divine or described as or understood or respected as being a divine literature, and some people saying that we should not call them divine. Do you think that the answer to this or the understanding will be more clear when we understand what the status of Zabur, since you mentioned the Zabur of the Psalms of David, and what the difference is between the Psalms of David and other books and why it is still considered revelation? Can you maybe explain in that sense?
Absolutely yes. The words of the Arifin of the time. An example is Dawood. Example is Peers. Example are Arifin. And I believe I said it earlier in different words. The ilm of the Arifin, so sorry. Ilm of the Arifin is with Imam's Nur. Another word is Nurani ilm, divine ilm. We just don't call it Book of Allah, but it is definitely with the Nur of Allah, with the Nur of Imam. So those Ginan are inspired by the Nur and therefore they are Nurani. Those who do not believe in the Peers and his Nur of Imam in him, only they can say that Gnan are not inspired or spiritual or divine. Lack of understanding, lack of ilm. G.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions if you want to take it, sir.
Sure.
Okay, so sixth part of dua, Allah is one in, independent. Then how can we say Jesus is Son of God?
Why do we say Ali Allah? Simple answer. Do we say Ali Allah? If you don't believe in Ali Allah, you cannot say Jesus is Son of God. It's all depending on what side of the eyesight you have. If you do not have that eyesight, Imam is just a human like you and me, and so was Jesus. Do you understand my answer? It's depending on what eyesight do you have.
So we have one. So Imam emphasizes on understanding Ginans. Once also mentioned the whole Quran explanation is in under Ginans. Where can we find Ginans explanation in depth?
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed the question completely.
So I think friends asking for the more understanding of Ginan, more in depth. So where can we
Okay.
find?
Oh, there are many sessions on Ginans. Kamre Sahib can surely share those explanation of the selected Ginan, because if you understand the principle and depth of the Ginan in those sessions, you will be able to apply those core principles to the other Ginans. Okay. So Kamre Sahib, I think we should stop because there is another session is trying to start, and I
Yes, sir.
think we are hogging the time and the attendance in that session.
So we can do that, sir.
And
So friends,
keep your
I
question coming, and inshallah we will take it next week. Thank you, Kamle
yeah.
Sahib. Thank you, everybody.
So friends, I have posted that article, Recognize Imam from Quran, in the chat, and I will also post it in the WhatsApp group later on. Thank you. Yali
Yali
Mother.
Madad. Thank you, Yali Madad.
Thank
Yali
you.
Madad.
Yali Madad.
Yali
Yali
Madad.
Madad.
Yali Madad. Thank you.
Thank, thank you, Aziz sir. Yali Madad. Mola Sukhi Salamat Abad Rakhe.
Yali Madad.
Thank you, Yali Madad bhai. Shukr.